Welcome back for another book talk video. It's Monday. That means Magical Monday, which means fantasy. Today I want to talk about book 3 of the Wheel of Time series, and I'm happy to tell you that I'm feeling much better about this series after reading book 3. I do want to give that disclaimer again that I have not read the entire series. You are getting these updates from me pretty much one or two books at a time as I read the series, and thus my thoughts and opinions are reactive to what I've just finished reading and taking it in with the previous information. There's a chance I'm going to change my mind about things as the series continues, and I appreciate that you're on this journey with me as I continue to try and talk about the book without being spoilery, despite the fact that I'm a few books in. Probably I should not have stopped after book 2. I should have read all the way through book 3 before stopping to reflect. Because really, books 1 through 3 work well as a trilogy, I think. Some people have commented as a critique that you could probably take books 1 through 3 and cut them down into one book and you would have a solid plot. And I do agree with that, but at the same time, I did really enjoy book 3. After book 1 and 2, book 3 actually takes some time to allow other characters besides Rand, and Rand, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is basically the main protagonist of this epic fantasy story with a ton of characters in it. But in this book, other characters besides Rand really do take the focus. Rand is still a part of the story. He gets a few chapters from his point of view, and the other characters are very much involved in caring about Rand and what's going on with Rand. But I feel like this was the book where the other characters really got fleshed out, and it became more of a story about a lot of people that you can care for and root for and understand on different levels. So I really appreciated that about book 3. At the same time, I will say Robert Jordan does like to let these characters breathe. But one of my criticisms with book 1 and 2 was it kept being about getting the horn, and they would try and get the horn and then they'd lose the horn. They'd have to get the horn again and lose the horn. It was a bit frustrating. It was also frustrating how it was very much reactive for the characters. And a lot of readers say that they prefer characters who are more proactive. And I agree with that. Book 3, I felt, even though there's still a lot of reacting to the world and what the different people and organizations are doing, it is only book 3 of a 14 or 15 book series. And thus, it's still the beginning. We're still building up the momentum for what's going to come. It's just I could appreciate that a lot more with book 3 than in books 1 and 2. I feel like I'm in a good place for the series. This is a fun fantasy adventure. Again, characters going from place to place to accomplish goals. Characters who sometimes get surprised and who end up in situations they don't want to be in. But I feel like the Aes Sedai organization was really developed a lot better here. And that's one of the reasons that I like book 3 more. I feel like Robert Jordan is achieving more world building. We've been to enough places. We're starting to experience more of the culture. The Aes Sedai is now coming across to me kind of like the nuns and the monks from Ken Follett's books, The Pillars of the Earth, World Without End, to where I can kind of understand those organizations better and see how that they have these different goals and how some people in them might be on different sides and how they are conflicting with each other. I like that idea. So I feel like the Aes Sedai has become more and more of its own organization that makes sense, and it's got the interesting factions in it. I feel like the characters are making more sense as I've gotten to know them better. And something that I did not mention when I talked about books 1 and 2, but really is fascinating, is there does seem to be a werewolf storyline going on here. And it's a lot of fun too, because the character who has those abilities had no idea he had them and has been going through stages of denial and experimentation and trying to figure it out. And I assume that's going to continue in really fun, positive ways in the next book. I'm looking forward to book 4 and seeing how all of this perhaps changes or what new threats the characters have. But I do want to emphasize, if you just read books 1 through 3, you would get a complete plot as a trilogy where the characters have taken down in books 1 and 2 some of the evil minions or mini bosses along the way. And then in book 3, they seem to have a big battle against the big enemy. And without revealing spoilers, it did feel like a fulfilling story that, granted, leaves some more to be dealt with later. I hope I've got you thinking about The Wheel of Time. If you have a lot of time on your hands and you are a hardcore fan of fantasy, then I recommend the book to you and the series. Every day is a good day for a book talk. Peace.